Hello again, and welcome to another edition of Nick's Impromptu Reviews. And today I'm going to review Blood Bowl Team Manager by Fantasy Flight Games. Now, if the name Blood Bowl sounds familiar, you're probably thinking of the classic Games Workshop board game Blood Bowl, which I reviewed previously. And yes, it is pretty much based on that game, except this is a card version, and it's published by Fantasy Flight, not Games Workshop. So while Blood Bowl was a fantasy football game where you controlled a team and you simply played a football game, okay, and with all the abilities and violence and stuff, that's what Blood Bowl was. This is a card game, and it's called Team Manager, and it's from a broader scale. Okay, you're not necessarily playing the games, you're playing several games, but from a farther standpoint, okay, it's not as detailed, all right? You're the manager of the team, and you're sending your your players out on different matches, earning money, earning popularity, or when this is called fame, right? Or fans, okay? So, and basically, you're trying to be the most popular team by winning and doing some cool highlight stuff. And if you get the most fans, you win the game, okay? It's a 2 to 4 player game, and there is an expansion, which I think adds more teams, but I think it's still only 4 players. But anyways, regardless, it's a kind of a card area control type game, very similar to the game Smash Up, but I think a little bit more complex. So, I like Blood Bowl, but is Blood Bowl Team Manager hold up to the Blood Bowl name? Let's find out.
Okay, let's see how this game is set up. Well, first of all, this game can go up to from 2 to 4 players. I recommend playing in for the full complement of 4 players because it's a lot more fun and I think it's more competitive. But for now, we'll just show you a setup for 2 players. Okay, so what happens is that each player, they're going to start out with one of these scorecards, right? And this represents the fans, and ultimately that's how you win the game, whoever has the most fans. Okay, so each person gets that, and they both start at 0. Okay, and there's a little dial you can just mess with the numbers. Okay, so it can go up to 99. I don't think it ever went over 100 before, but okay. So also, each player gets to pick a team, okay? And the base game has 6 different teams, okay? There are 3, I guess you would say the good races from the old World Association, and you have 3 chaotic races, okay? Right? And the good races, you have the classic dwarves, you have the humans, the Reichland Reavers, you have the wood elves, and for the chaos teams, you have the chaos team, you have the orcs, and you had the Ratmen, or the Skaven, as they call it at Games Workshop. Okay? So, you get to pick any one of these teams, alright? And they each has their own deck of players. Okay? And a starting deck of 12 basic players. Okay? So, let's start with the Wood Elves versus the humans. Okay? Alright? And also, each race, they get their own specialized team upgrade, okay? In this case, it's the elf, okay? And you'll be able to earn those during the game. And this is their human team upgrade, all right? Also, they'll be upgrading their deck by drawing a player from this deck, and these are the star players, okay? And they're basically better than your normal ones, okay? The chaos teams have their own chaos deck, but for now, since both teams are old world, they both share this same deck right here. Okay? Alright, so that's how you get your plays, and then you have to assign one person as the first player. So let's say the humans are the first player, okay? And if you're playing more, and it just switches back and forth every round. But if you're playing like 4 players, then it rotates clockwise, okay? Alright, so that's pretty much the setup. So right here, here's where the game play actually occurs, okay? Right here, between these 2 decks, okay? On this side, you have the Spike Magazine deck, and right here you have the highlight reel. All right, and this is basically, let me just move it over here so we can have more playroom. This is where the action all starts, okay? So, first off, you take your decks and then you shuffle them, all right? And let me just lightly shuffle these things for a minute, okay? You shuffle your decks, all right? And I think they've been shuffled already, so I'm just gonna do that. All right, and then you draw 6 cards, okay? And this is going to be your team in the first turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Okay, so this is your pretty much your starting hand, all right? Okay, so let's see what the elves have. We have a couple of linemen. We have a war dancer, a catcher, 2 war dancers, and a thrower. Okay, so we have a pretty decent mix. All right, so that's gonna be their starting hand. Okay, I'll draw theirs later. Okay, so now, here's how the game starts. You start out by rolling the highlight reel. Now, what you do is you take the amount of cards equal to the number of players. So in this case, we have 2 players, so you draw 2 highlights. Okay. All right. And then we draw 1 from the Spike magazine board. Now this is kind of shuffled differently. There's going to be, there are, let me see, 6? No, there are 5 cards in here, so that means there's going to be 5 rounds of this game, okay? And that's when the game ends, when we complete all 5 rounds. All right, so there's a weird way to mix these things, or a kind of strange way to, but just know that the last card, the final card, is the big Blood Bowl, okay, which is the main championship with lots of rewards, with lots of fans as rewards, okay? And that's always going to be at the bottom. As for the rest, it's pretty much random, okay? So I'm going to flip this, and sometimes it's an event, like this, endurance training. Each player, immediately draws 2 additional cards from his team deck. So right now, let me see. So right now, because it's a special thing, we all draw 2 extra cards. Okay? So instead of 6, it's 8. So this is just a special occasion. Sometimes it's going to be another tournament, like, oh, here we go, like the Chaos Cup, and apparently it's coming next turn. Okay, you're not supposed to know that. But sometimes it's another tournament, so you'll have 3 fields to go in. Okay, but right now, we have 2 highlight reels, and this is where we're gonna play our cards. Okay, so let's look at the highlight reels, so because that's basically where the main gameplay is gonna occur. All right, so let's examine one for a minute. All right, as you notice, there are 2. Okay, this card has 2 sides. Okay, has that side and this side, and you're gonna play players on either side of this card. Okay, now once you establish yourself on one side, you can only play on that side. Okay, but it doesn't matter which side, but as long as you're the first one there, you claim that side pretty much. Okay, so each side has a reward. Okay, so right here the star means that you get to draw 2 star players and pick one. So you get to, if you at the end of the round, you get to pick 2 of these cards, and you get to pick one and put the other one back. This one is called a staff upgrade, and I forgot to bring out that staff upgrade card, but anyways, there's a staff upgrade deck that you can do that'll give you more abilities and stuff like that, okay? And it's a little bit different from the team upgrades, like from that deck. Team upgrades are, well, I don't have an icon for that, but there's also one icon for team upgrades. Alright, so if you establish yourself on either side, as long as you have a player on that particular side, you'll get that reward at the end of the round, okay? However, if you win, you'll also get the reward in the middle, okay? And in this case, it's 2 fans, and that's basically what you're aiming for. You get 2 fans for your points, and you move your dial 2 if you win this thing, all right? So now, how do you win? Well, you win by playing cards, okay? So you go in order, and let's say the humans are player 1. Oh, and I forgot one more thing. We have to put a football, and the football on top of the card, that means it's at midfield, okay? It's either going to be in 3 levels. Either going to be in midfield, it's going to be on that side, or it's going to be on the other side. It's either going to be on your side or the opposition side, okay? So let's play a card, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and play a lineman over here, okay? The humans will. Now, they can play anywhere. They can play it on this side or the other side, okay? It really doesn't matter, but they have to play one side only. They can't play both sides, all right? So once they establish themselves on one side, they have to commit to that side. So let's say we'll put this human lineman. Now, if you notice, the card has a number on the upper left, okay? That is the star power, and that's what's going to matter in this when you're scoring, when you're trying to determine who wins the highlight. Okay. All right. So right now, all right, this alignment has won. The human team is up 1-0. Okay. So let's go to the elf side. All right. Let's see what they have. All right. Okay, I have another lineman, but let's beef things up here. Okay, so this one is a war dancer, and let's see. In response, if the player successfully tackles an opposing player, he gains a dodge skill. Okay, so here's what happens. Okay, this one has a 3. All right, so right now, once I put this thing, this side will be winning, and then you can add more players to each side. Okay, so and here's the thing: when you play a card, you do their actions over here, okay? Or I believe you have the option to do the action, okay? Okay, that little, I guess you call it a PAL marker, okay? That means that they can tackle the someone on the opposing team, okay? And I'll explain how that goes. Okay, so let me show you another staple of the original Bubble game, and that's the tackle dice, okay? So when you tackle someone, you'll be dealing with these tackle dice, okay? And the symbols mean this. Okay, if you roll that symbol, you're able to tackle the other player. If you roll the X, you yourself fall down, and that's like 1 in 6 chance. The tackle is like 50% chance, and then the other 2 are blank, which means nothing happens. Okay, so here's how a tackle goes. Okay, first of all, you gotta have that ability. Okay, that little star symbol right there, or POW symbol, whatever you call it. Okay, if you have that, you'll be able to tackle. Okay, once you play it. So let's say I played this right now. So I can get to tackle that person over there, and I can choose anyone who I can tackle. Although linemen kind of have the ability to fall on the sword. Okay, but okay. So here's what's going to happen. First of all, we compare star power of the person tackling and the person being tackled. Okay. So this war dancer has a 3, and that lineman has a measly 1. Okay, so that means because the war dancer has the higher star power, they get to roll 2 dice. Okay, if the star powers are equal, the tackler gets to roll 1 die, and if the tackler has less star power than the other player, they roll 2 dice, but the opposite player, the opposing player, gets to pick which one. Okay, so right now this one she has the higher star power than that person, so she will roll 2 dice and she gets to pick one. All right, so they roll 2 dice, and okay, so this is bad because that means she'll fall, but this one's good. Okay, so obviously she's gonna pick this. Okay, so here's what happens. That person, if they were standing upright, they are tackled. So see how this, let me show you how this works. All right, so when they're tackled, okay, notice the upper left-hand corner has the star power. Okay, when they're tackled, you put it side and you still look at the upper left-hand corner. However, this time they have a star power of 0. Okay, so right now this person is up 3 points to nothing. Okay, so now it's let's see, it is the human player's turn. Okay, and let's say the human player plays the thrower. Okay, so again, so that adds 2. All right, so they're still losing, but it's closer now. And you play that symbol. Now that football symbol means that the ball gets to move 1 level towards you, or you can switch it to another player. Okay, so since the ball's at midfield, it goes 1 level toward you, and like I said, there's 3 levels. There's the opposing player's side, midfield, and then the offensive player's side. Okay, so we can move it 1 level toward me. All right, so we'll move it there and give it to the thrower here. Now, if you have possession of the ball, that is 2 extra points. Okay, so right now they have 4. 2 plus 2 is 4, and that's 3. So now the humans are winning. Okay, now suppose that somehow she had the ball right here, and then I played this thrower. Okay, it moves 1 level, so it, however, will not go all the way down here. It'll go at midfield. Okay, and if that were the case, then the elf team would still be winning 3-2. All right, but in this case, he got it. All right, and that is the thrower. Okay, so now on to the elf's turn. And let's see if I can play something that has a different ability, like, why not, huh? Alright, so we'll play this one, okay? Now look, it has 2 footballs, okay? Star power 2, 2 footballs. So it gets to move 2 levels. So look, I can take that away from him, okay? And put the football here. So now I have the ball, 2, 4, 7, and they have only 2. So now the elves are winning again, okay? Now, here's one thing. This person doesn't necessarily have to go here. You can go to the other field, all right? And like I said, any side of the field you can go on, all right? So let's say I want to be a little conservative. I'll say I'll worry about that later, and I will play this guy over there, all right? Okay, so like I said, you keep doing this until your hand runs out, and then the next round you draw more cards, okay? And if you don't have any cards to draw, because you have a starting deck of 6, you just shuffle your discard pile and you draw some more, okay? And that's how a round basically goes. Okay, so let's look at some of these abilities, the basic abilities of these players. Okay, so we saw what the tackle did, the little POW symbol right here, okay? And you basically roll dice and you tackle the other person. All right, and you know what the ball does. It moves 1 level toward you, okay? Now, these arrows mean dodge, okay? Dodge or sprint, okay? Sprint. And what it basically does is that you can you draw a card from your pile, okay? From your player deck, all right? And you put it in your hand and then you discard 1, okay? Now, it doesn't seem like a good ability. Now, this one you get to do it twice. Now, that doesn't seem like a good ability right now, okay? But the thing is, here's the key thing. You're going to eventually get these star players over here. I mean, these guys that have all these amazing abilities, okay? And what this does, what the sprint does, it lets you cycle through your deck so you can weed out your basic cards and you have a better chance of getting your star players in your hand, okay? So right now, since there are no star players, it's not a good ability, but eventually it becomes big. Okay, let's look at another ability. Okay, you already know what the POW does. Okay, you're able to tackle. And also there's some text on the bottom. For instance, if this player successfully tackles an opposing player, they can cycle the card. Oops, I forgot to do that. But, you know, it's an option. Yeah, so they have different abilities. Some techs, you know, they'll have a special ability, but the basic ones are usually on that bar. Okay, so this is the ogre on the human team. They can tackle and they get a cheat token. All right. Oh, and one more thing: if they have multiple abilities, they resolve it from left to right like a book. Okay, so once you play this, and I'll play it right here, he gets to tackle that lineman over there. All right, tackles the lineman first. He has a higher strength, so he rolls 2 dice. He picks one. He'll pick that. Boom. All right. Then he gets a cheat token. Now, cheat tokens are random. All right. So you pick one of these from the pool, and you put it on top, face down, and it's not revealed until the end of the round. Now, what's in these cheat tokens? Okay. Most of the time, it's good stuff. Okay. Or stuff that has nothing. Okay, so but normally they give you star power or fans or something positive. Okay. However, sometimes they'll give you nothing, but it can even get worse than that. Sometimes, let's see. Okay, well, sometimes you get 2 extra star power, but here's the bad thing. All right, there's the chance that you'll get the whistle, and what that means. At the end, okay, so once all the cards have been played, at the end of the round, if the person has a whistle, you remove that card from the round into the discard pile, so they won't be able to add their points. You can add up the points, and we'll see who wins. Okay, so it's kind of risky to cheat sometimes. Okay, so I went ahead and just went ahead and played all the cards just to complete the round. Okay, so once all the cards have been played, you get to count the round. And one more thing that I forgot to mention. All right, and this happened in this particular case. When someone has the ball, all right, when someone has the ball and then someone tackles them, unless they have some sort of skill, they drop the ball and it goes into the midfield. Where is it? Oh, yeah, into the midfield, okay? All right. Okay, so that's just one note that I have to make clear. All right. Well, anyways, I went ahead and I played all the cards, and it's going to look something like this, okay? So 5 cards have been played on this side, 4 cards have been played on that side, 3 over there, 3 there. So here's what we're going to do. You count up all the star player points, okay? So let's count up the star players right here. Okay, so they have a 0, 1, 5, 7, and they have the ball, so that makes 9. So the elves have a score of 9. Okay? Alright, so the humans, we have 5, 6, 9, 12. Okay? Now, here's the thing. We have to reveal this. If it's a whistle, that can change everything. Alright, because they'll lose that 4 points. Okay, and that means it's a fan. Okay, so that's where the cheat tokens. That's the cool thing about the cheat tokens. You don't know what's going to happen. It's like a what do you call it? Jack in the box. All right, you don't know what the heck's going to come out of that thing. All right. So okay, so right now, yeah. So the humans won that field. So not only do they get a star player, all right, and they get to pick a star player and they get to put it in there. Okay, and look, it's an elf, huh? Traitor. They have to put it in their discard pile. Alright? But they also get the middle reward. And that's 4 points. So they go ahead, or 4 fans, they go ahead and add 4 to their score chart. Okay? And then you clear the pitch. Okay? And we do the same for the other side. Oh, and by the way, even though the elf team lost, they still get their reward, which is a team improvement. So which is one of these cards. Okay? Okay, now let's look on this side. Alright. So 3, 5, 7, 9. Oops, wait, I need to count again. 5, 9. Yeah, 12. Okay, so the elves have 12, and right there they have 2. Okay, just 2 points. So basically, the elves won this side. Now, there's 2 star. They don't get 2 star players necessarily, but they get to draw 2, and they get to pick one of the better ones and put the other one back, and I think the Blitzer is a lot better. Okay. And since the elves won, they get the 2 points on that side. Okay, so they get 2. Alright. And like I said, the losing player, they still get a consolation prize. They get 2 2 team improvements, and they get to pick one, and let's just pick that. Okay? Alright, and that is it. That's how a round goes. Alright, so you keep scoring rounds, and you go through 6 rounds, and whoever has the most fans at the end of the 6 rounds wins the game.
Okay, so those of you who played the game Smash Up, you'll see a lot of similarities in this. Yeah, you place your cards, you add up points, and yeah, whoever has more points on the side wins. Now, like I said, this game can go up to 4 players, and I highly recommend going to 4 players. When you have 2 players, really you have a better chance of getting the side you want. But in a 4-player game, you're really battling for a good spot on the field. Okay, so yeah, with 4 players, it's really fun and it's more competitive. And like I said, there's an expansion to this that I sort of included in here, and what it does, it adds more variety. It gives you like different footballs that can like either give you an ability, not just points and stuff. And there's like different races, and then there's also this introduction of crystal balls, which sort of give you more fans at the end, or yeah, more fans at the end. So this game is there's a lot more going on than in Smash Up. Smash Up's pretty easy. This is like a more advanced version of Smash Up, and the theme is football. If you like the football theme, or if you're familiar with Blood Bowl, this might appeal to you. But like I said, I think I had like people in my group who never played Blood Bowl. They really like this game as well. Okay, so yeah, this game's it's nice. It's pretty hefty. Probably lasts about, well, I don't know, an hour if you're playing with a full complement of players, but it's really not that bad. And the theme is there. It really has that Blood Bowl feel to it. So, you know, I think think you'll enjoy it whether you like Blood Bowl or not. Alright, so if you remember from my previous review of the actual game Blood Bowl by Games Workshops, you probably know that it's one of my favorite games, and yeah, it still is. So I was pretty excited to get this version of it by Fantasy Flight Games. Now I know it wasn't going to be to replace Blood Bowl. It's a totally different game. Okay, as you can see, it's very similar to game Smash Up, but I do like Blood Bowl. I do like the theme, okay, and Games Workshop, they really are good at creating universes, real detailed universes, and Blood Bowl is a pretty funny, detailed universe. So, yeah, I had that going for it. So, when I played this game, yeah, it's totally different, but I do sense I see the theme in there, okay? I really do see the Blood Bowl theme. It kind of, you know, it has its glimpses of football. In fact, when I haven't played Blood Bowl for a while previously, when I picked this up and played this, it caught me, you know, made me feel nostalgic, and I went back and I got all my Blood Bowl stuff from my garage, and I kind of started playing again. Even though I haven't played recently, I got to get back to my league. We're like in the middle of a season, and me and my friends haven't completed it. But yeah, Blood Bowl, it does have a good feel for the Blood Bowl universe. Now, like I said, how it's like Smash Up, but it's more complex. I actually like this better than Smash Up. There's more detail to it, and of course the theme. I'm gonna love the Blood Bowl theme. So I was concerned that maybe like if you did not play Blood Bowl, that you may not like it, but I do have some friends who've never heard or played Blood Bowl, and I played them this game, and they like it, okay, and they like it better than Smash Up. And Smash Up is a good game. Maybe Smash Up is a little too simple. I mean, maybe good for like people who aren't that hardcore gamers. This is more detailed. You know, trying to get the ball, trying to score the most points. There's so many ways to score points, and there's so much randomness, okay, like the bonuses you get now. And if you have the expansion, there's like even more more randomness to it. There's crystal balls. There's balls that give you extra points or extra whatever. Okay, and you know I really don't like reviewing expansions on it, so I like to review the whole game system under its own under one roof, okay? So I do take this into account, the expansion, and I do recommend getting the expansion, but still, the base game is pretty good, okay? You used to have a lot of teams in the base game and a lot of variety. This adds just more to it, okay? And more is always, well, not always, but most of the time it's better, okay? Yeah, and I think it's really cool. 2 players is good, but when you get to 3 or 4 players, I think it's really cool because you're really competing for those spots now because there's more players and then less room for the fields and stuff. So you really gotta place it. And yeah, it's to some maybe a little too random, but you know, it's pretty cool. I kind of like the random element to it. Like for the cheat tokens, you know, it's kind of a high risk, high reward type thing. So that's good for like those evil teams. And also, each team has its own flavor. All right, like dwarves are pretty much ground and pound. Elves have a lot of dodge and a lot of like ball possession and passing and everything like that. You know, while you know orcs and chaos is like to pummel each other to death. Okay, so they really do feel like they're unique Blood Bowl counterparts. Okay. And yeah, I do like the game. Okay, it's nice and quick. I mean, it's not going to replace Blood Bowl or anything, but it's a good solid game for everyone. It's a good solid 4-player card game. Okay, and with that, I will give Blood Bowl Team Manager an 8 out of 10. Okay, it has that Blood Bowl flavor. But, you know, it's not going to necessarily replace it. But it's a good card game. And if you like Smash Up, I highly recommend getting Blood Bowl Team Manager. All right, and that is it. Until next time, I will see you all later. Goodbye.